Hey guys, what's up? I'm Andrew from American Music Supply. I'm here with Gannon from Universal Audio. He's going to take us through some new releases for 2016.
Right on. Hey, Andrew.
Hey.
All right, so welcome to NAMM 2016. We have some really exciting news. First off the bat, this is the NAMM debut of Apollo Next Generation. So these new interfaces, in the few short months that they've been available, have become the hands-down choice of the new school professionals. So guys like Diplo, Chris Cornell, the Black Keys, Jim James from My Morning Jacket, tons of artists have embraced and are using Apollo Next Gen in their daily workflows to make hit records day in and day out. They love the sound quality, for one thing. We have the best-in-class D to A and A to D specs in terms of THD plus noise and dynamic range. So not only do we have great specs, but we have a sound. Universal Audio has been making world-class audio devices for over 50 years, and so we bring that tradition to the Apollo interfaces. And they just sound in a wonderful way. They're never clinical or sterile sounding. They have a vibe that's really important in terms of capturing that analog essence of your music. Secondly, they love the scalability and flexibility of the system. You can start with an Apollo Twin, for example, and add a Thunderbolt satellite to it. If you're on the road, it's a great backpack-based desktop workstation with all the goodness of the full system. Or you can scale it up and you can mix and match up to 4 Apollos in the same system. So if you wanted to have a bunch of mic pre's, for example, you can scale 4 Apollo 8Ps together and have 32 mic preamps. Or you can have 4 Apollo 816s and have 72 line inputs and outputs. So depending on what your needs are and what your studio's needs are, you can scale your inputs and outputs and your DSP to suit your needs. You can have 4 Apollos or 6 and 6 total UAD devices in a system all at the same time over Thunderbolt. So it's a really scalable, flexible system. And third, we have a unique technology called Unison, and what that is a combination of our Apollo mic preamps and high Z inputs and some software modeling behind that allows us to accurately model tube and transformer-based mic preamps and the impedance of guitar amplifiers and stomp boxes. So when you plug into an Apollo mic preamp, you can record in real time with no latency through a Neve 88RS or a 1073 or an API Vision channel strip or any number of analog really great sounding mic preamps. Same thing with the high Z input on an Apollo Twin or any of these high Z inputs. When you plug in, we actually model correctly the impedance. So your guitar's pickups react in the same way as you were plugging into the amplifier. So it's a really cool way of completely modeling end-to-end the device.
So does that work with any of the guitar amp models that you have to?
With the Marshalls, it does, yes. The Engels and the Chandlers are not Unison enabled, but they still, they sound great in an input slot.
That's pretty cool that the Marshalls, you can kind of get that impedance, matching between the...
Exactly. So that's the next generation, Apollo Next Generation. We are also introducing at this show at NAMM 2016 Apollo Twin USB for Windows. So we're bringing the same analog desktop studio to Windows users over USB 3. That gives you this flexibility that you have of a desktop analog studio. It ships with the real-time analog classics bundle, so you have a great starter kit. Run all of the same plugins as any of the other Apollos in real time, so the same workflow applies. You can combine it with PCIe cards and the FireWire satellite if you want to expand your DSP and have more mixing options. So it's a very flexible way to work on the Windows system. It's been highly requested from our Windows users to give them Apollo Twin. So that's what we have there.
Cool.
And then lastly, in version 8.5 software, I wanted to mention Apollo Twin USB is coming in Q1 2016.
Okay.
So
what's the pricing information on that? Do you have that? Or?
Sorry?
Do you have the pricing information on that?
Yeah, it's the same as Apollo Twin Duo. Also, it's a Duo, so there is no solo. It only comes in a Duo, and that's $899, so same as the Twin Thunderbolt.
Okay, great.
Okay, now, UAD 8.5 software brings 3 new developer plugins with us. First off the bat is the Marshall JMP 2203 amplifier. So just like the other Marshall, the Bluesbreaker, the Silver Jubilee, the Super Lead 1959, they're Unison enabled. They come from Softtube, and they have presets from Tony Platt. They've got the wonderful channel strip. Shall I show you that, or?
Sure.
Just talk? Okay.
Yeah.
So what's cool about this is it gives you the choice of microphones, and you can pan them, you can select which mic you want to use. This one, they all have a slightly separate, different channel strip functionality. This one gives you a noise gate, an SSL style EQ, a master volume output, and other than that, what's cool about the amp is that you have separate control over the preamp, volume, and the master section. So what that lets you do is get anything in a range from super crunchy. You can drive the preamp to 11. It goes to 10, but you can drive it to 11, and then turn the master volume back and get a clean tone that doesn't, blow the roof off of your house. Right. Or if you want a clean tone, you can turn the preamp back and turn up the master section, and that gives you more of an Andy Summers kind of a clean, shimmery thing with just a hint of distortion. So super flexible in terms of the sound quality that you get from it. So we're really excited about that. Next, we have the Sonox Oxford Envolution plugin, which is a next generation transient designer with envelope control. So more than just operating on the transient of the signal, you can actually change what happens to the envelope following it. So a good use for that is taking, for example, a piano sound that has too much tack on it, and you want to preserve the output and the decay of it, or maybe enhance it. You can adjust those two relative balances. You can bring up the attack, or turn down the decay, or turn down the attack and bring up the decay. So it's very flexible. It has a frequency-dependent trigger, so it doesn't just gate everything based on one global trigger. It's a frequency-dependent trigger. So very cool, very flexible. It comes with a ton of really cool presets. So if you want to enhance your reverb and do something like that, it allows you to do that as well. And last up is Brainworks BX Digital version 3. They've expanded the frequency range. For those of you who know what BX Digital is, it's a mastering grade EQ. It's a mono stereo processor, so it allows you to independently operate on the stereo component of a signal and the mono component of the signal. So if you want to work on just the bass and the things that are in the center of your mix, you have complete control over that. You can widen stereo images. So one of the cool things that I've kind of fallen in love with is putting the BX Digital on my overheads and turning down the mono component and widening out the stereo component, and all of a sudden you have this big shell of stereo overheads that you can work the rest of the drums into. It's great on full mixes. It's great on independent subgroups. So the fact that it's a plugin allows you to put it in many more places than just a final mix master.
Right.
These are all in UAD version 8.5, also coming in Q1 2016 very shortly. And for more information, we always have the latest, greatest news at uaudio.com.
Okay.
Cool. People always say UAD, no, uaudio.com.
Great. Well, thanks, Gannon. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Good to see you.
Cheers.